Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining and welcome back to Wall Street Bullion. Our guest today is my good friend Rafi Farber from the Endgame Investor. Welcome back, Rafi.
Thanks for having me again, Ivan, but I've never been on Wall Street Bullion before. This is a new thing.
Yeah, we did change it from Wall Street Silver to Wall Street Bullion, so that's the new brand, so that we could reach every type of precious metals: silver, gold, copper, platinum, palladium. So we get the whole broad spectrum. But yeah, I want to thank you so much for coming down.
Cool.
But I wanted to get you on to talk about everything that's happening in the gold and silver markets. What do you think about gold and where do you think gold and silver are heading in 2025?
There's something that's pretty interesting going on with gold specifically now, less so silver, but silver a little bit. The COMEX is actually stacking up on the coffers, the vaults. They're really starting to fill up. There's like a million or two, between a million and 2 million ounces of gold that are going into the COMEX every day now.
Okay.
Um, and this hasn't happened since March, April, May 2020, when like that huge spike in Comex supplies just like kind of just like went vertical. And to this day, I don't really understand exactly why that happened. And people try to explain it, but I don't think anybody really understands it so well. Something about the spreads blowing out, but then try to explain why that happened, they don't know. But whatever it is, it's happening again. It's not as extreme as it was in 2020. However, last week was it was either the strongest week or the second strongest week in terms of gold, physical gold flowing into New York from probably Switzerland or something, either Switzerland or London, but I don't know exactly where from. So now people have tried to say, and they might be right, that this is like a tariff dodge because once tariffs go up, it could be that gold is going to be tariffed by the Trump administration by 10% on imports. So they're trying to get their stocks in now
Oh,
to get around the tariff. I think that might be true, but I don't know for sure because I don't know anyone personally who's actually doing this. So it could be that, or it could be something monetarily is happening, similar to what happened in March, April, May 2020.
right.
Some kind of monetary rumblings going on that's inspiring all this gold importation. But the numbers are really pretty staggering. And most of it is going into eligible supplies rather than registered, which means eligible is not for sale. It's like privately owned, and registered is registered against contracts that, short contracts that people are putting up their gold to sell. So most of it's privately owned. So like there's like big parties that are moving huge amounts of gold into New York, maybe for tariff reasons, maybe not. But I mean, we'll see. It's big, so something's gonna happen after this.
Yeah, my gut feeling is right away is okay, 2020, you had all the crazy money printing, you had all the crazy economic instability, everything that happened with the economy shutting down, and if now they're starting to do the same thing, my gut feeling is just telling me uh, absolutely there could be some instability with the economic atmosphere that we're in right now. But yeah, that would just be my gut feeling.
Yeah, and the other thing that I'm watching is th that number that I've been tracking for since 2022, the reverse repos. That's the extra dollars that were printed that were never used.
Right.
Now they're empty. Like there's like between 90 and 100 billion left, but in the scheme of things, it's not really that much, and that can go to zero any day. And now the debt ceiling has been hit and the federal government has like $650 billion left to spend. And once they do that, they're gonna have to raise the debt ceiling because they always do that. And once they do, then the once they raise the debt ceiling, let's whenever the $650 billion runs out, there's not going to be any extra money to raise to sell all the short-term debt they need to sell to fill up their account again. So the Fed's going to have to print the difference.
Welcome to the Cayman Islands, a premier offshore jurisdiction where natural beauty meets financial stability. Here, your wealth is more than secure. It thrives in one of the most trusted and respected financial centers in the world. For over a decade, SWP has been the trusted choice for precious metal investors worldwide. Our purpose-built 6,000 square foot facility sets a new standard in precious metal storage. We are proud to be one of the only vault operators approved by the London Bullion Market Association. Beyond safeguarding your assets, we're committed to making a difference in our community by supporting local causes and events that reflect our values. As we continue to expand and innovate our services, we ensure that your wealth is safe and strategically positioned to shield you from the uncertainties that lie ahead. Strategic wealth preservation, trusted today and ready for tomorrow.
And that's going to be when the government runs out of money finally again.
Again.
So yeah, so we'll see what happen. We'll see what happens there. I think that once the Fed steps in, gold and silver really start taking off, and silver when silver really starts taking off faster than gold, we'll know we're almost there, and that hasn't happened yet because we know the gold to silver ratio is like back up to 90 or some crazy number like that.
That's insane. And I wanted to ask you about that. Do you foresee like any major shifts in like investment in investor sentiment towards like physical versus like digital assets in the sector? Like more people are starting to wake up because they're going to grocery stores. Inflation is crazy around the world. Do you see more people starting to wake up to physical silver compared to digital assets?
Um, yeah, the digital assets, you mean like Bitcoin and do you are you what are you including in that?
I'd say like crypto and even maybe even fiat as a digital.
Okay. Yeah, no, people aren't going into fiat. They're trying to get out. But yeah, look, they're going into Bitcoin still. But I think that all reverses itself when the liquidity crunch happens because in a crunch you need dollars. You don't need Bitcoin. So people sell their Bitcoin for dollars to service their debts, and that's when the thing deflates.
Right.
And once it deflates, gold will deflate. Gold doesn't inflate or deflate, but gold sells off, but it sells off much less than any other asset. You know, if you go back to March 2020 and you look at what was happening with Bitcoin, it crashed in March 2020 along with everything else.
Right.
Gold went down from like 1700 to 1450. Is that a crash? Well, yeah, for gold it's a crash, but like compared to anything else, it's not.
Yeah,
It's
absolutely.
pretty stable. So that's what's going to happen again. It's just going to be a lot worse for Bitcoin and a lot less bad for gold. And then when the reflation happens and the Fed prints the difference, it's going to be gold and silver, primarily silver, and then gold. And Bitcoin might reinflate a little bit, but I don't think it's going to get anywhere near the ratio it is now with gold.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that, Rafi. Now, let's say there's a new silver and gold stacker who's watching this channel, who's watching you and me for the first time. What advice would you give to new investors, entering in the gold and silver space right now?
Um, yeah, so if you're going into gold and silver now, and now is a good time as any, you're never too young to start. It's like smoking, you know. Um, Wait, is that? I think that's a line from Waterworld. Yeah, okay, I got that
Yeah.
one. Yeah. Um, Dennis Hopper.
Yeah, that's
Anyway,
right.
if you're getting into gold and silver now, my advice is you got to make sure you have the right frame of mind. These things are money. They're not investments to make dollars with. Like you can use gold and silver to increase your dollar holdings. That you can do that. A lot of people do that. Or you can use your dollars to increase your money holding, which is your gold and silver. It's you have to understand the gold and silver are the money, and everything on top of it is a derivative of that. So, so rather than looking at the dollar price every day, every week, whatever, just commit to buying whatever it is that you can afford to do, whether it's an ounce of silver, half ounce of gold a month or every 2 months or whatever it is. Just make it steady and constant, and then haven't instead of a dollar amount goal, have like an ounce denominated goal. How many ounces of gold do you want by in your stack? So if it's like 5 ounces, then for 5 months buy an ounce, and then you have your stack, and then just don't worry about the dollar number because where you do this in order to provide to spread out a monetary base when the dollar no longer can buy anything and everyone who had dollars can suddenly has no purchasing power.
Right.
That's a very scary moment for the world. And they're going to need people with purchasing power to spread that purchasing power around. And how is that done? It's done by acquiring assets. So, and that's really how you save the division of labor. So it's really it's a society, it's a social responsibility that you're embarking on. You're not necessarily trying to protect yourself, even though that's what you're doing. You're trying to protect the entire global division of labor, really.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great advice, Rafi. Now, other than the repo market, and I know you've been keeping your eye on that, but what's concerning you the most about the global economy right now?
What is concerning me most about the global economy right now? Um, well, um, that would probably be the central banks.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, they they screw everything up, but I mean specifically when when the dollars run out and you have all these countries that are just super saturated with debt, and we all know, but that all has to go away. And when that goes away, it's going to happen all at the same time. Like it's these financial crises, they happen at the same time every time. You know,
Right.
they always go global. And so with with the political instability going on in Europe right now, and they're trying to deal with their immigration problems. I think they've finally realized that it's a serious problem. And the UK is a complete basket case, and nobody likes Keir Starmer. And I don't think there's any single European leader that is beloved in any country
Right.
in the old world. I worry that Europe could erupt in chaos um, because what really keeps their culture together? They used to be a religious continent where they believed in God and they had this a strong religious identity. They don't really have that anymore.
Right.
And America's kind of getting it back a little bit. They're kind of I think Trump mentioned God in his speech, in his
Yep.
inauguration speech. I was like, wow, that's old school. That's pretty encouraging
Yeah.
that you acknowledge that there's a power above you, even if you're Donald Trump, who he doesn't like to do that. I was like, that was the most humble I've ever heard him speak,
Yeah,
actually.
it was.
For him. Um, but really, so I guess my answer to the question is, what is my worry about the economy? It's more my worry is that when it falls apart and the material to satisfy, short-term desires is no longer there, then people turn on each other because they have less of a view of a higher power to keep society together.
Right.
Um, so I will, I want to be, around people who, are moral and outside of the big cities. So
You know,
that's where I am,
y-
and I think, where are you? Vancouver? It's sparsely populated place. No.
yeah, no, it is absolutely incredibly populated, and it's
Oh, okay.
I believe you. You need more God in this world right now because, or just more morals because you see what's happened in the past, like 9 to how many years in the US and what do you think about this new administration on the economic side? Do you think Trump and Elon they've been talking about reducing federal spending by $1 trillion and do you think they can bring inflation down? Do you think it's feasible or no? Because you're going to hit that debt ceiling, you got to print more money.
No, it's not feasible. They're not going to bring inflation down.
Mm.
You have to stop inflating to do that. That's all you have to do. And if they stop inflating, then there's a banking crisis.
What they're
Because
trying to
the
avoid.
bank because the banks own debt, right?
Yeah.
So if that's what's on their balance sheet is debt, and you can't keep paying the debt back without inflating the money supply, because it's the new dollars that pay back the old debt, and then it keeps going.
Hello, my fellow silver and gold stacker. I just wanted to say thank you so much for watching the channel. Subscribe, please like the video, and also hit the notification bell. Keep stacking.
If they can stop it and then allow the banks to fail, fine. Do they want to do that? No, they don't. But what Trump can do, I guess, for the economy is make production a little bit easier so that once the dollar does die, then afterwards, and you have the entire banking crisis anyway, then after that's all done, then you can have a rebuild of the economy on a sounder monetary system, on a sound gold or silver monetary system, and then fewer regulations in the way. Like it would be much better if after the end game, there's a lot fewer regulations on starting businesses, on permitting, on drilling, whatever, making production easier for when we're done with this. But
Right.
they're not going to stop the reckoning. The reckoning has to happen. Once it does, getting rid of onerous regulations and allowing decentralization, allowing states to take care of their own problems. I think I heard Trump like lambasting the mayor of Los Angeles yesterday or 2 days ago, and saying like, why don't you just declare a state of emergency and allow these people to clean up their own lots and so they can start building again? Why are you waiting for FEMA? They're just gonna have you sign a bunch of paperwork and nothing's gonna get done.
Right.
In that sense, he's very good for the economy because he's trying to get things out of the way so that people can do things.
Yeah,
That's
cut the red
fine. That's
tape.
great. That's great. But can he fix the monetary situation? Absolutely not. No way.
No, because you're gonna have a bleeding. You're gonna have the collapse come, and then who knows if they'll even reintroduce or try to have sound money in the next system. They'll probably just push, what I've been seeing is like they'll try to push out a CBDC or, something along those lines.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to try that. That's
Really?
because no, because it won't do anything. I mean,
Yeah, it'll
the
be the
CBD,
same system.
yeah, they would be building another layer on top of a pyramid that's already collapsed. I mean, once
Right.
the pyramid is gone, you got to start at the base again. So you need firm value. So you need gold and silver. That's what they're going to need to do.
Yeah. No, I absolutely agree with you, Rafi. Now, before you go, what's your last piece of advice to the silver and gold stackers for 2025?
I think we're going to be in for a wild year. If you remember what happened in 2020, silver went from like what was it, $25 to like $11 in a few
Yeah.
days, and gold went down from 1,700 to 1,450. Something like that's going to happen again, and you have to be ready emotionally for it. I think that is going to happen this year. And once that happens, I think that's going to be the last time. So I've been waiting for a repeat of 2020 for 4 years now, and if it happens in 2025, you have to be calm enough to realize this is what is supposed to happen, and then buy the dip, and then watch and wait because after that I think they're going to explode.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you, Rafi. But the only thing I have is when it did collapse the silver price down to like, something crazy in 2020, not a lot of the bullion dealers and you couldn't really buy silver at that crazy low price. Like they were, you know what I mean? There was still they
Yeah.
kept it at a high price. Well, I'm sure that'll happen again where you can't if it dips down to 16, 17 bucks, all the bullion dealers don't want to just sell it at that rate, you know?
Yeah, yeah. You won't be able to get it for the price that you'll see on the COMEX futures, but you will be able to get it for a little bit cheaper than you otherwise would.
Right.
But if you have a brokerage that can take delivery on contracts, you might be able to get like a 5,000 ounce contract for the spot price. It's
Wow.
possible.
Yeah.
But you need like $1 million in capital to do that. That's there's a lot of people that have that. It's not a crazy amount of money.
Right. Yeah, no, absolutely. Well, Rafi, I want to thank you so much for coming down to Wall Street Bullion, but where can people connect with you? I'm going to put your links in the description below. Where can people connect with you?
Yeah, check out the Endgame Investor on Substack. That's number one, and my YouTube channel is Rafi Farber. Those are the two main ones basically, and you can check out my Patreon at patreon.com/endgameinvestor, where I gave a religious angle on these things, spiritual monetary awakening, I guess you could call it.
Yeah, no, I highly recommend everyone watching right now. Please go follow Rafi. Please go support him. The links in the description will be below. And yeah, Rafi, thank you again for coming down. I'd love to have you back on in the future.
Good, looking forward.
Talk to you soon.